Hey everybody, welcome to the Jaywalker. Today, I'm back down in my basement studio. We're going to do another episode of Ghost Stories for a Saturday. This is episode 2. Today, we're talking about a voice at the bottom of the stairs. Now, this is the first story I usually tell people when I'm telling ghost stories. And I tell this as the first story just because it ties into other stories that I tell as well, and I can use this one as kind of a building block and a stepping stone for other stories, for my theories, and those type of things. So here we go. Now, at the time, this was about 7 or 8 years ago that this particular experience happened, and my wife and I, we'd been married for about 6-7 years at the time, and we were living at the time with her parents, and we lived with them in a split entry home here in Utah. Fairly common home plan for a long time here. Split entry where you come in, you can either go upstairs, downstairs, right as you come into the entryway. The stairs are right there in the entryway. And we were living in the basement portion of the home. The kitchen and such was upstairs, which comes into play in the story. And so I had gone out doing some errands with my at the time about 9-month-old daughter. Our older 2 children, who were 5 and about 8 at the time, were in school. And so the 5-year-old was in kindergarten, which was a half-day program at the time, and so my daughter and I had gone out running errands. My wife was at work, and so I had taken my daughter out to go run some errands, and I had neglected to bring an extra bottle or extra diapers along with me. I wasn't planning on being as long as gone as I had, so the 5-year-old got done with her kindergarten class at about noon, and it was getting on to be about 11:30, and the 9-month-old was in need of a bottle and a diaper change, and she was very vocal about that fact, and she was screaming, in fact. And so, in an effort to make sure that I got home in enough time to take care of all of that and to get to the school to go and pick up the 5-year-old, we're rushing, and I was in a bit of a hurry. And as I got home, it's getting close to 11:30, 11:35, 11:40, and I needed to be at the school by 11:50, 11:55 to pick up the 5-year-old. And we lived in a split entry home with my wife's parents, and for those of you who don't know what a split entry home is you walk in the front door. The entryway is, you come right into the entryway, and it's stairs going up, stairs going down to the basement, upstairs to the main living area. It usually has a couple of bedrooms and kitchen and that kind of thing. And as I got into the house, went downstairs, which is where our bedroom was. I had basically everything that I needed there, at least to get started. So I set my daughter in on our bed in her car carrier, and she was strapped in her car carrier in the middle of the bed. I was going to grab the bottle to go up and make one upstairs As I mentioned, the kitchen was upstairs, and everything that we would need for making the bottle was there. Grab the bottle, head upstairs, and as I mentioned, she was still screaming, still letting me know that she was not real happy. And as I hit about the third or fourth stair going up, the crying stopped just abruptly, just on a dime. And I had never to that point ever heard her, seen her do that. And so it stopped me short for just a split second, thinking that's kind of odd, but continued upstairs to the kitchen to go ahead and make the bottle. So I did that, came back down. Again, the whole time I'm making the bottle, I'm hearing absolutely nothing from her. And she's the type of child who even then was very vocal and very loud. And anytime she was crying and not happy, you could hear her throughout the house, even upstairs from where she was there in the bedroom. And so I made the bottle and head downstairs again to go and feed her and to get her diaper changed. And as I hit about the same stair where she had stopped crying, going up, as I'm coming down, all of a sudden, again on a dime, the screaming resumes in earnest. As I mentioned, it stopped me short, thinking that's just so bizarre. She quit right here and started back up as I'm hitting the same stair. And again, stopped me. It was just a split second that I stopped, paused, weird thought, and then as I turned the corner to the left to go to the bedroom where she's at, behind me over my right shoulder, I hear very distinctly, very clearly, one of the most exasperated sighs I have ever heard. And it was just, like someone so frustrated after having worked so hard to do something and then have it fail. And the voice to me sounded as that of an older female. It was what I heard, how I felt about it, but that's what I heard was just an old woman sighing. Like, just the feeling that I got from it was, I just got her quiet and now she's screaming again. Type of sigh, just frustrated sigh. And the kicker to all of this was my daughter and I were the only ones home. Now, how do I know this? So as I pulled into the driveway, I noticed that, number one, I knew that my father-in-law was at work because he was gone before my daughter and I had left. My mother-in-law's car was gone at that point when we got home, and she had been there before we had come home, and she'd been there when we left. And then after getting the bottle started, getting her fed and changing that diaper, I went and looked. There was no one home but her and I. And so that's my story for today. One of those experiences that left me feeling like, there are spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call it, here, very close. There's other stories. We have a good theory about who this was. And it's another story for another time, but it's coming. I promise you. Our theory on who this was be coming soon. Thanks for joining me today. Enjoy the story. Subscribe, like it, comment, Tell me what you like. Tell me what you want to hear. Let me know if you want to keep hearing these ghost stories and the cemetery walkthrough stories. Give them a look. We'll catch you soon on the next Jaywalk.